Hey, my friends, it's Michelle here, and I'm so excited to share this conversation with you. Today's guest is someone who truly lives and breathes what it means to show up with heart, even when life feels messy or uncertain. I'm joined by the incredible Shari Alyse, TV host, bestselling author, two-time TEDx speaker, and America's joy magnet. Her energy is contagious, her story is powerful, and her mission is to help us all reconnect to our joy and authenticity, especially when it feels far away. We talk about healing from trauma, navigating midlife shifts, and how joy isn't about pretending everything's fine. It's about being fully aligned with who we really are. And wait until you hear about how she's bringing joy on the road across America, literally. Also, before you dive in, if you're craving a little more clarity and momentum in your life, take a minute to check out the free Inspired Action Quiz. It's in the show notes. It's a great place to start if you're feeling stuck or just ready for something more. All right, wherever you are today, I hope this episode wraps around you like a warm hug and reminds you joy is always within reach. Let's jump in. Okay. Oh my goodness, it has been a while, and I'm so excited to see this incredible young woman joining me again today. We met, I can't even remember the first time we met. It's a number of years ago. And just seeing everything you're doing, Shari, I'm going to do an actual whole introduction. But when we met, the minute I met you, your energy radiates joy. And you guys, when you hear what she does, it's like, honestly, that's what I thought of you the minute I met you. So
Ah,
yeah, so good. So I'm going to do a little bit more of an intro. So Shari Alyse is a TV host, best-selling author, two times TEDx speaker, and one of today's most powerful voices in the joy and wellness space, which we're going to dive into that because we need it so much. We need what you're doing so much. And so, like, also with over 25 years of experience in media and entertainment, she's made 100 plus appearances on, catch this, everybody, ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox, all the big stations you can think of, and is the host and executive producer of the top ranked talk show, Good Morning Joy. It's now streaming on Amazon Prime, all the good places to find it. And I love that your mission is to reconnect people back to their joy and authenticity. And we were talking about that before we even dove in here, going, we should always just tape all the pre-conversations too. We're going to dive into everything she's doing. Oh, and I just saw this interview recently that you did with Marianne Williamson, who amazing. So many of the greats that are changing the space and energy in the world that we need so much. You were featured on Times Square billboard, which
yes.
is so cool. We're gonna dive into all this, and also let me see what else. Well, we're gonna dive into everything else you're doing because you're going to be doing across America. Maybe you'll pop into Canada to tour. That we're gonna talk about this, some of the stuff you're doing. So welcome to Inspiring Possibilities, the courage to jump in, my amazing friend. Welcome.
I'm so excited to be here. And first, I just want to say thank you for writing the intro, calling me a young woman. I appreciate that because I haven't felt like that in years. So that's number one. You get a check plus for that. And then thank you so much, honestly, for having me on. I think we met during in the media stuff. I think that was during the
Mhm.
pandemic, probably
It
2020 or
was.
2021. Yeah, during that
Mhm.
time. Um,
Mhm.
and it's been a joy to reconnect right now. Already, I
So
already know
good.
it.
And I know, like, during, and we'll talk about this for a second because that's when we did meet, was during the pandemic, when it was just like, how do we put positive things out into the world when we need it so much? And I had done a summit, and you were one of my guests on the summit, where I think I interviewed 24 people in a 48-hour period of time. And it was magical, like creating this energy that we so needed and we continue to need. And that's why what you're doing now and the message that you're spreading is just catapulting. It's
Yes.
catapulting, which is so great.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been, I will say, a slow burn. Like you think that people want positivity in their life, but I've been in this space for over 2 decades and watching now it flood. And I think the shift started during the pandemic. I think that really opened people up to like, okay, I have a lot of time on my hands and I have a lot of time to reflect and see that maybe my life is not in the place where I really wanted to, or how can I show up like happier, more joyful, all of that. So it's fun and exciting. And like, thank goodness, I feel like I'm not like a solo soldier in this alone.
Mhm.
So it's an
Mhm.
exciting time to be doing this work.
There is a ripple happening, what you're saying, which is so cool. Like to have a whole show around what you're doing, to go across the country, across
Mhm.
really, I'm going to say North America, and share those stories, which I actually see it going globally. Share it because like sharing stories around the world, which is really my mission too, is like inspiring possibilities, the courage to jump in because we all have these gifts and it's finding that thing that makes our hearts sing and having the courage to jump in and do it. Like, did you ever think you would be doing what you're doing now?
Yeah.
You did. I see. I actually knew that. You knew that in your core and you took the steps to do it. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
was
It
it,
doesn't mean
did it
that I
take
didn't, there
courage?
weren't moments. Yeah. It doesn't mean there weren't moments of doubt. It doesn't mean it wasn't hard, but I knew as a young girl that I was going to do something massive. And I say massive in the fact that I was inspired at a young age and I wanted to be able to impact people in the way that I was impacted. I always had that pull to help people in the way that I was helped.
So let's rewind. Let's unpack that because I know your story too. Some of
Mhm.
your story, probably not all of it, I'm sure. But share what got you where you are now. Like share a little bit of what happened in your earlier years because it was pretty major,
Yeah.
which then became a calling for you after that.
Yeah, so, it's interesting. I've been open about it since I was 7 years old because at 7 years old, I was sexually abused by a stranger. And I got on a witness stand at 7 years old to prosecute, to speak out against my abuser. And so when I say to people, like, I've been talking about this, what am I, 50 now? Like for 43 years. And so recently, I did take that transition to shift more on, well, what would life look like without that story? How do you still show up without that? So that's been a major transformation, but it is part of my story. And that is, as I shared, that trauma really sent me in a direction for years, for decades, that really had me disconnecting from myself.
Mhm.
It's as I think it's understandable that when you experience something that traumatic, especially at a young age, that we don't, or any age actually, that we don't want to sit in that pain. And so I spent many years running from that pain. And it wasn't until in my 20s, I would say I was like, okay, we keep repeating the same things. We're dating the same kind of guys. We're like looking around at my life. And even though I had like this positive outlook that things could be better, I always knew that things could be better. I just didn't feel like I had a roadmap on how they could be better.
Mm.
Um, and that's really when I would say, spiritual journey and healing started, which ultimately, and I talk about it in my book, reconnected me back to that 7-year old, and in that reconnection is where I found joy, and that has become my work since.
I love it. And I appreciate you going back and sharing that. And I also appreciate so much you saying I was sharing this story for so long because we don't ever want to go back into the energy of that story, especially once you've moved through it and healed. And to be able to refer to it and reference it in such a healthy way now, in a way of um, understanding, like at such a deep level without having to go there and that to be your story. Right. So it's like when we share our stories and the impact, because one, that energy is not a healthy energy to be. And but the second part is it's brought you into the incredible work that you're doing. So do you find it's like a fine line,
100%.
fine
Yeah.
dance?
And I'm still torn. Like there are times where I'm like, you should still share your story, or maybe we don't need to. Like I have that battle going on sometimes. I wouldn't call it a battle though. It's more of a discussion these days. But
Yes.
and the reason why I say that is because a lot of times people find when they hear the work that I do or we talk about it, they don't, and they're in a place of trauma or really hard challenges, they can't see the bridge to joy. Like it seems
Yes.
so unreachable. And so I think that it is important in these times to be able to mention where I came from so people can see the possibilities, of what is possible for them. Um, but I also think that it's important for me on my personal journey to be able to know that I am whole and enough and just as powerful without having to share that story, that I could stand in my own power without having had to have gone through that.
I really appreciate talking about this too, because that's so important when it's shaped who you are, it shapes who we are, our stories shape who we are, and it depends on how we use them. Like
Mhm.
when we can go back into that energy, or we go like, okay, so I love that you said being able to relate, because especially with the work that you do, and the impact that you're having. And I was on, I had did another podcast just recently about this, is that we all have some sort of trauma, and it's like, how do we start being able to, one, be aware and move through it? And I know it's a lot of work to do that, and people get afraid, first of all, the work, can I do this? And did it, and it's not overnight, it's gradual. And it's like cultivating and training a new muscle of the choices that we get to make by the lens we look through it. So I'm super curious too of what were some of the biggest things that really helped you shift, that you find are helping others shift.
I think it's number one, the awareness
Hmm.
that we are challenged or struggling in some way, because a lot of times we feel it and we either blame it on something else or we ignore it. Like I said, with me, I deflected, I ran from it. And so I was like, I'm not going to allow that to define who I am. And so
Hmm.
I pushed a lot of the pain and the emotions down. And so it's allowing ourselves to accept where we are, what
Hmm.
what has happened, because in that, then I believe we open up the door and the possibilities for healing. So acceptance and honestly surrender is number one.
So good. Yeah. And that's big. Like it's like, because we don't
Yeah.
we don't want to look at the
It's like a
monster
hard
under the
stop. Like,
bed.
I
Yeah.
could go on, but that is the foundational step.
Yeah. And then from there, what's your best, from your experience? What's your best next step from there?
Is um kindness to yourself.
Hmm.
I think this is how I describe it. When people ask me about joy, I would just want to say this so there is no misunderstanding when I say joy, what I mean and what I talk about and what I define it as. Joy to me is the complete alignment with the truth of who we are and the full expression of that. And
Oh,
so when I say joy, it's not like the rainbows and lollipops and pretend like everything is great. It is the acceptance again of where I am and showing up in that truth of who I am. And the reason why that's important is because I was only able to get there by being loving and kind and compassionate with myself and what I was going through. And the times that I would make mistakes, or what I called mistakes at the time, like I would show up in a way that I was like, oh, why'd you do that? And instead of beating myself up over it, I was finally like, you're doing the best you can, So
oh
it's,
my God.
yeah, it's
I
the
love
self-love,
that.
self-good talk.
Doing the best you can. And I really appreciate you defining what joy is, because people think, oh, I got to be happy all the time. Well, that's bull. Because
Cool.
that's not real life. We are all going to have moments. And I love your definition of it, in the sense that coming back to yourself, like being authentically true to you, is where the real joy lands. It's not these superficial things. It's not the more cars and the more houses and the more stuff and the
Ever.
more busy. It's that true connection to yourself, and listening to that little voice, I
Yeah.
think, inside, that always actually does know.
Always. And it's in that it's why kids are so joyful before they are exposed to how they should be or shouldn't be, what, a teacher or parent or whomever thinks tries to align them. There is that freedom to be who we are as very young children, and we show up and we're playful and we're like, kids are so joyful. That is who we are. And yes, as we grow, maybe we're not playing, pirates and stuff, but it is that freedom to show up and maybe do that if we wanted to. And so that comes back again to allowing ourselves to fully be who we are. And you and I spoke about that before we started this, which was, about being authentic and real. And I was like, there's such freedom in that. I don't have to show up in any other way except who I am and what I know. And sometimes it's not perfect,
And
but
and
I'll be
it's
okay with
never
that. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I talk about. That was my TEDx was all about letting go of that perfection, like those expectations and the pressure that we put on. And full
Mhm.
disclosure, at like we were talking earlier, the conversations before and sharing that going, both of us felt a little bit off today. Like,
Uh-huh.
I've got the end of this cold and a little bit of something, something, and you had something with your back, and we're going like,
Yeah.
and we get to show up how we are. It's not about being these super Wonder Women and we have all our shizzle together all the time. Like,
Everything's great.
this is
Yes.
no,
Yeah.
how do we get to still show up and connect in a real way? Because we're never going to be 100% all the time. There's going to be those peaks and valleys. There's going to be those days. And sometimes when we show up on those times that it's more challenging, it's even more rewarding in a way like going, oh my gosh, I was there for me, for you, in a real way,
And it
right?
becomes, I always describe it as a buoyancy. I always
Mhm,
say that joy is my flotation device. It
mhm.
doesn't, I don't not face challenges. Like there are still hard times, but it feels like you said, the muscle that you continually build because I cultivate it every day and make sure that I do through my own pillars of joy and what that is for me.
Mhm.
Then during the challenges, like I feel like I'm floating as opposed to sinking in water because I have that.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I talk about sink, swim, and float when we're afraid or something's new and we need courage and we tighten up, we sink. And it's when you let
Mm,
go that I
yeah,
don't know why they call it dead man's float, but you float to the surface. Like you're not fighting against what it is, it's coming back to
mm.
center again. So it's
100% that resistance is what sinks us.
exactly. And we're
And
not breathing and we're not doing all the
mhm,
things. So interesting. And I wanted to dive into this a little bit more of some tools of getting back to that center and getting back to the joy. I know I have some that I use, and I'm just interested to have a conversation about this. What you would think, what you would share would be some of the key ones that you do to get back to that place of centered and joy.
well, in my experience with working with people when I was doing some joy coaching before, I'm not currently coaching in that arena, but and then just the people that I talk to every day, and then of course in my own healing experience, joy is all about, as I said, connection, right? So there is that aspect of connecting to ourselves, but I call these my pillars of joy. And so it is connection to ourselves,
Mhm.
to one another, to nature, our purpose, and to creativity. And that is really where I have found that when people connect to these aspects, they experience more joy. And so I make sure, my friend calls it the daily five, and like for something that she, has. And I was like, that is my daily five. So I make sure in some way, because I'm an overachiever, that I connect it. But you could choose one,
Right?
But pretty much people fall into that when you talk to them about real joy. And I'm not talking happiness, joy is different. So there is that experience of those pillars.
So good. I love that so much, the five, and that you don't have to do them all. Like it's like choose one because what happens is just by taking that baby step of doing one, it starts to shift. And when that starts to feel good, it's like it fills your joy cup or that fulfillment
Mhm.
cup, and then you want to do more. And I love that. I often will see you doing lives outside, which is great. It's like we forget, we can talk about it, but honestly, getting outside is one of the key things, getting in nature and in fresh air, like breathe. You tie those two things together. Breathe, move, get outside. So,
100%. That is a non-negotiable for me. If I do not get outside and take my morning walks, I try to walk with the sunrise,
oh,
which I generally always meet because then I feel like I'm late if I'm not. But but I make sure of that. That is something that well, I mean, it's scientific, and what
yes.
air does for so that's like a given. And I always feel most connected to myself while I'm in nature, to my higher power while I'm in nature. So there's so much connection going on. And then I see people, so I feel like and then also the work that I do, like I get so much inspiration around there. So I meet even, connecting to my purpose while I'm taking that walk. So so much is experienced during that time.
It is all so connected, being on
Mhm.
purpose. And I love the connection part because I talk about this as well. So important, that connection to community and connecting to other people. And I find it challenging to connect to other people or community if I'm burnt out. So it's like that energy. of taking care of ourselves is kind of the foundational one, but there is this natural longing to be in community and be around people, which is
Yes.
so, so key. And then the, well, we can talk a little bit more if you want to add on to that, because I think that's like there's a loneliness epidemic going on that's even still continued from COVID. When we think we have to do everything on our own or we feel isolated, even though we may be around people. So, how do we connect in a way that's meaningful, not superficial, too, right?
Well, that was a perfect segue, not to take us I will not take us in a different direction, but the loneliness epidemic and real connection is why I'm setting off on my road trip this summer for my show, is to be able to reconnect people to each other, to themselves, and to be able to make a dent in this loneliness epidemic that we are all experiencing, and really helping to show people how accessible joy is, and it's right under their nose.
Oh my gosh, I love it so much. That's so good. Oh my God, don't we all need this? Joy
I think
bubbles.
so.
Well, and we can create those. So I'm saying I love that you're sharing this because it's an example of what we can actually all do, right? And it's like when you light the light, it lets us see that we all have the ability to do that, but it's taking care of ourselves in order to be able to connect with each other because
A
that's
million percent. Yeah,
yeah.
and I honestly I haven't I mean, I guess I've touched on it in some videos, maybe on TikTok or whatever, but I'm sharing this now because the journey, like I said, isn't always easy. Like, I'm in the second act of my life, and let me just tell you, and I'm talking hormonally, things are happening and shifting and changing, and the ways that I normally show up, like, I don't recognize myself at times, and the things that did previously light me up, I could feel like a dimming of it. And so
Mm.
what I am consistently doing, and I will say this, I am proud of myself because people have said to me, because I have a lot of health stuff happening, like, how are you still showing up and doing the things? And I said, because I know in my soul that if I don't do these things, that I will be worse off. Like, so I will continually go and do those hikes. I will make sure that I connect to people. I will make sure that I take like, I will do all of the things, even though the external and internal is trying to fight against that. And that's what I think for anyone listening is that yes, things are tough and they will be tough at times, but we don't have to make it tougher on ourselves by throwing in the towel, and it's that consistent action and staying true to yourself.
And abandoning that part of us, like to stay true to that so big. You touched on something really big, and it's like
Uh,
going through that menopause, perimenopause,
mhm.
feeling the shifts. And I just want to call out to all the women listening right now because it's a real thing, because I went through a brutal time that I didn't know half the things that were happening. And we get to open up this conversation because it is not just in our head and it's not just the motivation that it's like, I don't have motivation to do this. It's to understand what physiologically is happening in our bodies. When I learned to this, I'm like, how come people don't talk about this? Because there is an actual shift. I'm telling you, Shari, before I did my TEDx, I thought I was losing my mind. I was having challenges recalling names, words.
Mhm.
So that is
Mhm.
part of the perimenopause. And I'm past menopause, but
Yeah,
we're never out of menopause totally because our
that's what I just
hormones have
recently learned too.
I know our hormones have totally shifted. So we do need help. There was a study, I'll probably misquote this, back in 2002 or something like that, that dished hormone replacement therapy. And it was not accurate information where our hormones are so out of whack and the things, the side effects or the physical notices that happen in our body, brain fog and energy levels. We can be super, if we're already highly critical of ourselves, it can be even elevated, escalated even more because we can't seem to get out of this place. So, all the things you and I are talking about are super, super key and understanding what's actually physiologically happening in our bodies. I'll tell you one that blew me away. Okay, there's the M movie. If you can find it somewhere, you've got to watch it. Everyone that's listening, women, any women over 30 plus. So you understand what's happening. But things as much as like bleeding gums and losing a tooth, that blew me away. That is about 70% of women. That
Mm.
happened to me. And I thought,
Wow.
what? the heck is going
I
on?
didn't realize joint pain. And that
Joint
was,
pain.
so I went recently, like, what's going on with my hand? I can't move it all of a sudden. And then I'm being told that I have arthritis and all these things. And then the more I learned about, I'm in Perry, or
Yeah.
yeah, I'm in Perry. And the more that I learn about it, and people are like, "Oh yeah, I had so much joint pain." And then once I started hormone replacement therapy, it all went away. And I
Oh,
say to my partner every night, because I'm like right in the thick of it, and I've been telling him every night, like, how do they not tell us this? Like, why
right.
has this been withheld from me for years? I'm going to doctors talking about the brain fog, and we're doing MRIs and like checking my brain, and why has no one said this? And yeah, so
And,
it.
and when I first went to my doctor, this is years ago, oh, we can put you on an antidepressant. And I'm going like,
Yes.
not me. Like there's something that's wrong. And I'm not dishing that because we may need that to help get over that hump, but
Hmm.
it's not, that is not the thing. It's like getting our hormones in balance. So I was sharing before my TEDx, it was escalating the forgetting things. Like I'm like, okay, I forgot my purse at the gym. And then I'm on the plane taking out my computer to look at my TEDx and go over it. Because as you know, because you've done two of them, like I've never had to memorize anything before. And I left my computer at security. Like,
Oh.
like all these things. And I think the pressure that I was putting on myself was escalating my my recall, my
Uh-huh.
everything. It was amazing to now look back and see what I put my body through when we put it through that pressure.
You literally just brought me back to my second TEDx, which I feel like now is 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. Anyway, I had so much trouble memorizing, and I'm a former actress, and memory came to me so easily. And anyway, I had so much trouble. There was so much pressure on myself. I blanked out a couple of times during it. Of course, I believe my acting abilities, like the audience weren't able to know because I kind of, improv till I found it again. But I
Mhm.
literally walked off the stage at the end of it and beelined for the bathroom. And in the stall, I started crying,
Mm.
like, because there was just all of this pressure. I was having so much trouble memorizing. And I'm like thinking now, that was part of that. But as soon
Mhm.
as I've been educated now, this is where, and I'm understanding what's happening within me. I'm being loving towards myself. I'm being kind towards myself. And that's why I'm able to show up and do the other things, because I'm like, okay, I'm not beating myself up for all these things that are happening to me?
Yeah, because it's so natural to kind of go there. The
Yeah.
the auto response is to go there, like what the H, right? I
Mhm.
know like I was going to share that I think it was a few weeks before and the first time we went through the script without the script. And
Mhm.
and there was a woman there who was an actress and teaches drama. And I was 11th of the 12th going through, and everybody asked for their line about, 5 or 6 times maybe. She asked a few times, so it made me feel better. I went up. I am not kidding. I asked 20 times at least. And I was just like,
Need to laugh
I
at it.
let
I'm just like, oh.
Oh my God. And at finally a point that my body just gave in and I started to laugh. And one of my colleagues he was amazing because he came up, he said, that was so inspiring. I go, what do you mean? He goes, you could have just walked off at that point, but you kept going through. And so one, that to just keep moving. But two, I went on a hike that weekend with two of my best friends that I go hiking with. And one, she's very, very much in the public eye. And I just burst into tears. And I said, I don't know what's wrong with me. And then she just was open with me too and said, I stopped taking speaking engagements for 6 months because I was trying to figure it out. And so she's the one that said, you got to check your hormones and blah, blah, blah. It took me a while to balance it out. So I'm sharing this because when we think, oh my God, it's just me, what's wrong with me? There's answers. And it's like that just slowing down enough to listen to yourself, give yourself some grace, some love, some kindness, and there are answers, and it's not just always in our head, but our body does need that support too.
I mean, like we could have a whole conversation around this whole, like, hormones and this age in life and everything, because it's such an important thing to have. And I know that's why so many people are having it. And I do second what you're saying. It's just about the grace, whatever that situation looks like for you, whatever challenge or dark thing you feel like you're facing. Because I think that if I didn't have this cushion of love and joy, that going through this would be even more difficult.
Yeah. So
So
that's the foundation part.
yeah,
So if we can reach out to everyone listening right now to give themselves, so you always do this. What is your mantra? Share
myself
that.
hug.
Yeah.
Yes, I always, yeah. Wrap your arms around yourself. And I always speak positively to myself. I love you. I'm so proud of you. I'm surprised you remember that. It's
I
part of,
do remember that because I just thought it
yes.
was so great. You were like on NBC, ABC, and getting all the
Mhm.
morning teams to give themselves a hug, and you just see everybody start to beam. You might go, "This is silly," and going, "Wait a minute,
So
that
you
feels
do it.
so good."
So good. It is, it happened during one of my moments. I feel it's like God, it has to be like over a decade ago where I was having a flashback from the trauma at a young age. And I was in the shower and I just heard, I was crying and crying. And I said out loud, all I wanted was a hug. Like was for
Mm.
someone to say that it's going to be okay. And so I heard what I call God say, so give yourself a hug. And right there in the shower, I wrapped my arms around myself and I felt like I gave back myself everything that I needed. And since that day, there isn't a day that goes by where I don't give myself a hug. And it's so healing.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. Okay, everybody listening, we all just get to give each other, give ourselves a big hug right now. That's
Yeah.
so good. So good. And I always share, and I think I shared this with you before, the one quote, and I shared it in my TEDx that my daughter told me when I was having a really rough time. And she said, "Mom, remember I love you, and remember the energy you put out's the environment you create." So what energy are we giving ourselves
Yes.
first?
Yes, we're magnets. We attract what we give out. So if we are not, I mean, I'm just going to repeat what you said in this different way, but if we are not taking care of ourselves and giving back, so that's who's going to show up and that's what we're going to continually attract is that depleted part of ourselves, the part that's always negative. My other half, he's like, why do you always have to bring me up? And I said, because you're like the perfect example of what I share in the fact that him and I, we walk down the street or we go and do something together and we're living the same life, externally, but we're experiencing it completely differently. Like he's noticing, why didn't the garbage man come? Why is there trash here? And I'm like, look at that tree. Isn't it so beautiful? Or like, look at the sky. Like, and it's just again with what we're attracting, but also the lens, which is what my second TEDx was about, the lens in which we choose to see life through. And
Mhm.
I choose to see life through the lens of joy.
So good. I love that so much. And it's so powerful what you just said. And there's such a key word in there, and it's choose.
Mm.
Because every moment we have a choice. And if we get so riled up in everything, we can't really see that. It's like being able to pause and going, okay, what am I seeing? Am I seeing all the dark? Because we're just going to keep catapulting that and seeing all the dark, as
Yeah,
opposed to just find one good thing and it starts to
that's
open up
it.
more.
Yeah, and that's it. And I don't want anyone, like it's always important for me to say, like, I know that when if you're in the midst of chronic pain or grief, I lost my dad in January to ALS. Like
Mm.
I am still grieving. But I will say again that my joy, knowing that connection, is my flotation device. And so it doesn't diminish what you're going through. It's just saying that it doesn't only have to be that. Joy and sadness can simultaneously exist. And I actually think joy holds the sadness.
Wow. Oh, that's so powerful. And yeah, I'm so sorry about your dad and can relate with my dad. It was very similar with ALS. So
Mhm.
it's like kind of slowing. You just lose like losing them slowly and their
Yes,
minds are 100% still. So it's like quite a journey for them to go through. And it takes a while. Like the grief is not like it
linear.
comes in
Yeah.
waves.
Yeah.
It comes in waves where there's tears of missing so much, and then those waves of joy and those great memories that hopefully, I love that you said that joy can hold the grief in a gentler
Mhm.
way. It's not like it goes
Yes.
away, but it holds it.
It
That's
holds it.
beautiful.
Yeah. And that's what my dad and I used to talk about, while he could talk. And but even so we communicated, with an alphabet board, with a letter board. And he would always call me his joy magnet. And
Oh,
I know. And that are the things that we would speak about is that not letting these things take away from that,
yeah, yeah,
whatever that thing is.
yeah, so much. And to I think I love that you said that, not take away from it, not to dismiss it,
Yeah.
that pretend it's not there because it is,
Right.
but
Right.
not letting it consume.
Yeah, because I know, like I said, I've heard so much, like during the pandemic specifically, when I was putting out all this positivity and people are like, "What are you doing? How can you put that out there? We're all in such, challenging, troubling times." And I remember saying, I've never seen how me or anyone withholding their joy and positivity has made a situation better.
Yeah.
So this is helping me and hopefully someone else out there. And so that's why it's important for me to always say that there are things that happen in our lives and you may not be able to see through, the bushes right now and see the light, but knowing that there is the bridge and that the possibility is there is what has held me from the time I was a young girl keep taking those steps forward because I always knew and had a vision that there was a better life for me.
Mhm. And oh, I love that. And everyone just listen like into your heart and your soul right now. And there's this knowingness that we all have, I think. And when we get it's so loud, all the other things, it's hard to hear that. And just trust and know that and take those baby steps. Take
It
those baby steps.
Yeah, those daily connection, the daily 5,
Yeah.
like connect to the things that light you up, the one little thing, put the song on, put
Yes.
your arms around yourself, sing a song in the shower, like the little things that uplift you in some way that help make that journey through something challenging a little easier.
Yeah, that's what I talk about, and I keep that's why we have so many commonalities too. My TEDx was all about the nap, snack, play, and celebrate. It sounds like the little kid, it really is, and it's even deeper than that because when we do those things, the nap, like taking care of yourself, snack, like what are we putting in our body and our mind, and play, get outside, crank the music, especially when you feel crappy. A song can change it instantly, right?
Instantly. Instantly.
Instantly. And then celebrate. Yay, I got out of bed. I'm feeling better. And look what happened when I did this. So good.
Yes.
So
And
good.
and that's honestly one of the reasons why I choose a road trip for this next season for Good Morning Joy is specifically because driving and the open road lights me up. Blasting music, seeing nature, like all of that. If I'm going to do a show about joy, I literally want to be immersed in the joy. And my producer and everybody that's involved is like, there are much more economical ways of doing this, or, quicker. We could fly to places. And I was like, no, no, if I'm like, I want to be in the midst of my joy.
Oh my
So,
God, I love
yeah,
it so much. Okay, so what are you driving across the country in?
an RV.
And okay,
An
how much
RV, yes.
fun. I
The
can't.
RV is the mobile talk show studio. So we will be
Oh God.
pulling up to our guests' homes, having them hop on the RV to be able to talk to them about their mission, their purpose, have that conversation, whatever that is, and then be able to go out into the town center, into the community, and do what it is for them that lights them up and us engage with people, with strangers,
Oh
spreading
my,
and amplifying joy.
I love that so much. I'm covered in goosebumps. And how much fun is that going to be?
I like I I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like we are in logistical nightmare, like trying to figure out the route right now with guests being all in different places. So
Right.
that's consuming. But why I'm able to continue to keep a smile on my face is because I know once I am on that road and like I know what happens with my soul and how it lights up. And so it, yes, is the answer to that. So exciting.
So much fun. Oh, I love that you brought up that part because behind every journey path on our path, there's going to be things that are challenging, are things that we don't like so much. That how do we incorporate those in? Because it's not always going to be, oh, it's all it does take building that, and that's where the resiliency comes from too, is like going through those, figuring out those challenges on the road to getting to where you want to go. There are going to be those things. So it's not all going to be light. And so that's part of it. It's like, oh, I get to do this, figure all the tech stuff in order to amplify the joy, right?
Yes.
So cool.
And I feel like the road is, and it's actually my book, um,
So,
is structured as a road trip. Um, and so about with the detours and the roundabouts and the fuel ups and stuff. And so it's always been a part of my journey. And so it's so important that it's exactly what you said, which I kind of forgot already because my brain. But just about, yes, I don't know. Okay, let's skip that.
no, it's all good. Go, go, go. Like
Yeah, no,
talking
no, I
about the
literally
challenges
forgot.
too.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
all
No, it's
good.
okay. I'm not even embarrassed. I forgot, but I know that it was important.
And I always share to my guests, I don't edit my podcast because
Yeah.
it's real conversations going, we have these moments. It's okay. And it's
Yes.
like about letting go of perfection. It's like this is real life.
Real
This
life. And I remember now.
see, there we go.
I think. I remember that. Oh, really, I was gonna say it's about the journey itself. So yeah, there's always gonna be things along the way that you don't like doing. And so I try not to focus only on that because how long do the actual accomplishments last? Like they're usually, if we're not enjoying, I mean, it's so cheesy, like enjoy the journey, but if we're not at least finding joy along the way, then like doing all the things you hate for that 5 minutes that you finally accomplish, and then you're like, well, now what? Now what? You know? So it's
Yeah.
being able to find that good.
Oh, that's so good because we want to. I just wrote down this question earlier and you made me think of it too.
Mhm.
Because in pursuit of joy, like I want to ask is this was a question I heard someone say, is joy a valid compass?
Yeah. For
Yeah.
my definition of joy,
Yes.
about being fully aligned with the truth of who we are, joy is the compass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like as long as I know, like it's if I everything that I am doing and everything that I'm saying, that I make sure that it is aligned with my truth, then I will always be walking, not only in joy, but walking in the direction that I'm supposed to and meeting the people that I'm supposed to, because I'm always in that alignment.
So good. You made reference to is this a different book? Is this your first book or your second book?
It's the same book since you and I spoke. I had a
Yeah.
first book that no one needs to ever know about. This is the one that you know about. It's called Love Yourself Happy: A Journey Back to You, and it really is the road trip back to myself.
So good.
Yeah.
And that and one that we can all identify with and learn from. So it honestly has been such a joy reconnecting with you and hearing all the wonderful things. Any last minute, and I have two questions for you, but then maybe I should do the questions first. I'll do the
Okay.
questions first, and then you can like share your last gems of wisdom.
Okay.
Um, what would you tell your 12-year-old self?
I love you. I
So
love you.
so good.
I think
And
that would have changed a lot of things.
mm, so profound and so powerful.
Simple, right? But not like it's, I think, everything that we all need to hear from
Yeah,
ourselves.
so good. And what would your 12-year-old tell you today?
You're doing it. You're doing it.
You are doing it,
You're
girl.
doing
Go
it. I'm
get it.
proud of you. I'm proud of you.
So
Now
good.
I'm going to get emotional
Oh,
because it's been a journey and it
yeah.
still is every day. And the one thing that I will say about myself on this journey and this 50 years that I've lived so far is that I continually show up for
Mm,
myself. And it's messy sometimes and it's imperfect all the time.
mm.
And but I am true to my integrity. I follow through with what I say, and my dreams that I've had since I was a young girl, I'm still pursuing and creating, and I'm proud
So,
of that.
so good. And so you should be, my friend. And you are the
Thank you.
epitome of what this podcast is all about. It's
Mm.
inspiring possibilities when we step in and we have the courage to keep moving forward, no matter what it looks like, and celebrating as we go. So I'm
I'm
so
so proud of you and
oh,
bringing this show back.
I know it was a leap and it's like I get to live what I'm talking about and it fills me up. Like you say, like being able to spend time with you, being able to spend time with all the incredible people that I get to. I love the quote. Someone said, Zig Ziglar, someone said something to Zig Ziglar, oh, that motivation, inspiration stuff doesn't work. It doesn't last. And he said, yeah, you're right. It's kind of like a shower recommended daily. I thought I love that so much because
I
this is
haven't
like
heard that.
fuel. It's
I
so
love it.
it's like stories of inspiration and joy is like fuel. So thank you, my beautiful friend, for joining me. Love you so much. And we'll be following you on the tour. Like I might have to do like a co-tour across Canada. Who knows? Wouldn't that be fun?
The goal is to go international after this one, so
Yes,
gonna,
I 100%. We can
yeah.
spread, it gets to be spread around the world. Any
Yes.
last minute things that you want to share?
Just first, thank you to you. for asking me to be a part of this, for being you, for shining your light so beautifully, for connecting and being authentic to yourself, which is joy.
Mm.
And for anyone listening or watching, I end every chapter in that book, which is go easy on yourself.
Oh, I love it.
That's it.
Love you, my friend.
Love
Thank you
you
for
too.
being here and all your gems of wisdom. Take care. Oh my goodness, wasn't that beautiful? I'm so grateful to Shari for sharing so honestly and joyfully with us. Her reminder that joy and grief can coexist and that we don't have to be perfect to show up with purpose. And if you needed a sign to wrap your arms around yourself today, this is it. Be gentle with you. If this episode spoke to your heart, I'd love you to share it with someone who could use a little more light right now. And don't forget to check out Shari's show, Good Morning Joy. You can find all of her links in the show notes. And hey, if you're ready to reconnect with your own joy and momentum, take my free inspired action quiz or check out our next I Am Pod. We are building something special here, a space for real connection, real support, and real momentum. Until next time, remember, possibility lives in the courage to jump in.